and encouraging words. Moving ahead, we are blessed to have Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee, Judge, Supreme Court of India, with us. Adorning the Calcutta High Court as a judge till reaching to the pinnacle as the Judge of the Supreme Court of India, her ladyship has achieved several milestones in her long journey. Without taking much time, may I have the privilege to request Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee, Judge, Supreme Court of India, to address the august gathering.
The Honorable, the Chief Justice of India, Shri Sharad Arvind Bobde, the Honorable Chief Minister of Bihar, Shri Nitish Kumar Ji, the Honorable Minister for Communications, Electronics and Information Technology and Law and Justice, Government of India, Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad Ji, my esteemed colleagues of the Supreme Court, Justice Naveen Sinha and Justice Hemant Gupta, the Honorable Chief Justice of Patna High Court, Shri Sanjay Kaul, the Honorable Justice Pandey on the dais, my brother and sister judges of Patna High Court, present and past, Chief Justices of other high courts present here today, present and past, respected former judges of the Supreme Court and other dignitaries present here today, brother and sister judicial officers, esteemed members of the bar present here today, the registrars, officers and employees of the High Court, ladies and gentlemen, and last but not the least, I should not miss out the youngest prospective member of the legal fraternity who was sitting in the second row till a little while ago. And I sincerely hope that she will be a worthy successor to her grandfather and set right the gender imbalance to some extent. It is a privilege for me to be here in this ancient historical city of Patliputra on this momentous occasion of inauguration of the new centenary building of this august institution. Exactly 109 years ago, on 22nd March 1912, the then Governor General issued a proclamation whereby Bihar and Orissa, which were till then part of the presidency of the Fort William in Bengal, were separated and were made a separate province. And soon thereafter, the Patna High Court was established by the letters patent of 9th February 1916. It's a repetition, but repetitions are sometimes necessary, as stated by the Chief Justice and certain other speakers. The foundation stone for the High Court building was laid by Lord Hardinge on 1st December 1913. In his speech on the occasion, he said that he was confident that justice would be administered from the new building. To quote Lord Hardinge, with courage and impartiality, to the terror of evildoers and to the triumph of every cause which is right and true, so that the High Court of Bihar shall earn a name for sound sense and good law. On 3rd February 1916, the High Court building was opened by Lord Hardinge with the wish that the labor of this court may be inspired with wisdom, justice, and mercy. He expressed the wish that the building itself would become an emblem of the great and weightier in its decision between the individual and the state. The High Court started functioning on 1st March 1916 with the Chief Justice Chamia and 6 puisne judges, of whom 3 were Indian legal luminaries, namely Justice Jwala Prasad, Syed Sharfuddin, and Basant Kumar Mallik, a member of the Indian Civil Service. The High Court held circuit sittings in Cuttack. Even though Orissa became a separate state in 1937, the Patna High Court exercised jurisdiction over Orissa till 26 July 1948, when a separate High Court was constituted for Orissa. The Patna High Court, I must say, has lived up to the expectation of Lord Hardinge as expressed when the foundation stone of the High Court building was laid and when the building was inaugurated. This High Court has produced legal stalwarts and distinguished judges who have rendered landmark judgments. Many of the earliest decisions interpreting the Constitution emanated from this court. By a judgment dated 12th March 1951 in the Darbhanga Maharaj case, a full bench of Patna High Court declared the Bihar Land Reforms Act 1950, which had received the assent of the President of India on 11th September 1950, as ultra vires the Constitution of India. I mention the date of the assent of the President for a specific reason. This is to emphasize the speed in which the important issue had been decided by the Patna High Court in a matter of less than 6 months. This judgment led to the enactment of the Constitution First Amendment Act 1951, which inserted Articles 31A and B to the Constitution. The Supreme Court, in considering the appeal of the state, held that the obligation to pay just compensation was a necessary incident of the power of compulsory acquisition. In Bharati Press, a full bench of the court delineated the stringent limits to permissible legislation, abridging the right of freedom of speech, and declared Section 4(1)A of the Press Emergency Powers Act 1931 as unconstitutional. Bharati Press has since been relied upon by the Supreme Court and by several other high courts of the country. Unlike my lucky brothers, Justice Naveen Sinha and Justice Hemant Gupta, I did not have the opportunity to be a judge of this court. But I did make a few appearances in this court as a lawyer, particularly before its bench at Ranchi, when the territories now in Jharkhand were part of Bihar. However, as lawyers and even as students of law, we read judgments of this court and judgments of the Supreme Court emanating from this court. The judgment in Sankari Prasad, the judgment in the Kameshwar Singh case, with keen interest. we always looked up to this court. Personally, I can claim some affinity with the state of Bihar, as my mother was born in Munger, in her maternal grandfather's house. And at around the time when this High Court was established, my paternal great-grandfather, Bipin Bihari Banerjee, who was a member of the Bengal Civil Service, was the district magistrate of Dumka. That apart, we had some close relatives and family friends who had settled down in Bihar and in territories which were part of Bihar, but now form part of the state of Jharkhand. The memories of appearing in this court, this bench, and the Ranchi bench were indeed very happy. When the High Court was established, there was one Chief Justice and 6 puisne judges. Today, subject to correction by the Chief Justice, you have a Chief Justice, 29 judge strength of 29 permanent judges and 13 additional judges. Is that so? Which means that the judge strength has gone up over 7 times. Naturally, the space which was available must have become inadequate because there was increase in the staff strength. The bar had grown in the meanwhile. I congratulate the Chief Justice, the judges, the esteemed members of the bar, the officers and employees of this High Court, and all others associated with this High Court on this occasion. And I sincerely wish that the new building with better facilities, a good infrastructure, will enable this High Court with its rich heritage to render justice with renewed vigor. I am quite sure that this High Court, the judges and the esteemed members of the bar and others will concertedly ensure that this High Court sets an example in judicial excellence and is able to uphold the constitutional values of justice, political, social, and economic, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and from a fraternity assuring the dignity of the individual, and of course the unity and integrity of the nation. I sincerely hope that this High Court will be successful in enhancing access to justice and in ensuring justice to the underprivileged, to the marginalized, to the differently abled, and all others who knock at its doors. I once again thank the Chief Justice and my brother and sister judges of this court for giving me the opportunity of being here on this wonderful occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Ladyship. Proceeding further, we are privileged and honored by the presence of Honorable Mr. Justice Naveen Sinha, Judge, Supreme Court of India in this inaugural ceremony.
Okay. Honorable the Chief Justice of India, Shri Sharan Arvind Bobde, Honorable the Chief Minister of Bihar, Shri Nitish Kumar, the Honorable Minister for Law and Justice, Electronics, Information, Communications, Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad, Sister Indira Banerjee, Brother Hemant Gupta, the Chief Justice, Patna High Court, Shri Sanjay Karol, the Chief Justice, Jharkhand High Court present here, the Honorable Judges of the Patna High Court and sister judges, retired Honorable Judges present here, the Advocate General, the Solicitor General of India, the Judicial Officers, members of the Bar, the Registry, ladies and gentlemen. I consider myself extremely fortunate, and it's a very exhilarating experience, and I would say privileged also, to have been present both at the foundation laying ceremony of this new building and also at the inauguration. As a third generation practitioner before this High Court, I don't think I could have considered myself more fortunate to be a part of this inauguration ceremony. It's going to be a very big boost to infrastructure. And of course, I will like to take a walk around the new building, but from what I saw just now, it has state-of-the-art facilities. I must congratulate the present judges, sitting judges of the High Court, who have brought this building to its culmination, leading to its inauguration today. Seeing the facilities, it's very obvious that the bar will also be ultimately benefited, and it will all contribute to better dispensation of justice. I convey all my good wishes to the bench and bar of my High Court today, so that they keep aspiring to better, higher and higher achievements to keep the glory of the Patna High Court flag flying. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Lordship, for your words of appreciation and encouragement. Ladies and gentlemen, to sanctify the inaugural ceremony of the centenary building of Patna High Court, we have with us the Honorable Minister of Law and Justice, Government of India, Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad. The affection of Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad with this venerated High Court is not a hidden fact. Being enrolled as an advocate in this court and later on designated as senior advocate at Patna High Court, Honorable Minister of Law and Justice, Government of India, Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad has closely observed the colossal growth of this honorable court. With these brief facts, may I take the privilege and honor to request Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad to address this august gathering.
भारत के सम्मानीय मुख्य न्यायाधीश श्री शरद अरविंद बोबडे, आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री श्री नीतीश कुमार जी, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सम्मानीय न्यायमूर्ति श्री नवीन सिन्हा, इंदिरा बनर्जी, श्री हेमंत गुप्ता, पटना हाई कोर्ट के चीफ जस्टिस श्री संजय करोल, सीनियर जज श्री शिवाजी पांडे, all retired Supreme Court judges, sitting and retired Chief Justices, judges of the Honorable Patna High Court, Bar Council Chairman Mr. Madan Mishra, Advocate General Mr. Lalit Kishore, Additional Solicitor General, Chairman of all the three associations, ladies and gentlemen, जब भी मैं पटना हाई कोर्ट परिसर में आता हूं तो मेरी पुरानी भावनाएं बहुत तेजी से मुझे उन स्मृतियों को झकझोरती हैं। और आज जब इस नई बिल्डिंग का लोकार्पण हो रहा है, जिसके लिए नीतीश जी आपकी सरकार के सहयोग और संजय करोल आपके मार्गदर्शन में जो बना है, इसके लिए अभिनंदन। ये बिल्कुल पुरानी बिल्डिंग के साथ है, तो आप सबों का बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन। लेकिन आज जब मैं चीफ जस्टिस के साथ घूम रहा था तो मेरी पुरानी स्मृतियां बहुत सामने आ गई और मुझे आज के इस ऐतिहासिक अवसर पर यह स्वीकारने में जरा भी संकोच नहीं है कि मैं जीवन में जो कुछ भी बन पाया हूं और कर पाया हूं उसमें पटना हाईकोर्ट की बहुत बड़ी भूमिका है। वर्षों यहां गुजारे हैं। सामने बीएन अग्रवाल साहब बैठे हुए हैं, बहुत योग्य जज, चीफ जस्टिस हाई कोर्ट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में 9 वर्ष रहे। मैंने वकालत शुरू की थी और वो जल्दी जज बन गए थे। उनके सामने पता नहीं कितनी बार अपीयर करने का मौका मिला और कोर्ट की तहजीब सीखने का मौका मिला। यहां जस्टिस एस.एन. झा और एस.जे. मुखोपाध्याय बैठे हुए हैं। इनके सामने कुछ ऐसे ऐतिहासिक केसेस बहस करने का अवसर मिला जिसकी चर्चा आज पूरे देश में होती है। ये सारे अनुभव हैं और चूंकि मैं पटना से हूं, यहीं पैदा हुआ, पढ़ा लिखा, बड़ा हुआ और अब मैं सिटिंग लोकसभा एमपी हूं, तो चीफ जस्टिस, आई नीड योर इंडल्जेंस टू वेलकम यू ऑल्सो एज अ लोकल मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट बिकॉज यू हैव कम टू माई कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी। How I see the evolution of Patna High Court. You know, it was established in 1916. But remember one thing very important. Patna High Court in many ways became the identity of new state of Bihar. Because after a long drawn struggle when Patna was created Bihar was created as a state, as Justice Banerjee pointed out, this new state needed identity. And Patna High Court very soon became a proud symbol of Bihar's identity. And I remember Honorable Chief Justice of India, Rajendra Prasad, shifting his practice from Calcutta High Court to Patna High Court. And very soon he excelled exceedingly well till after a few years left practice at the bidding of Mahatma Gandhi. And I remember as a young lawyer here, the old records were on display. And there was a first appeal of Rajendra Prasad drafted by him. And the stamp reporter has pointed out that why the lawyer has taken only one ground. The suit was barred by limitation. And I saw the noting of Rajendra Prasad, if the lawyer is sure of success on one ground, what is the need to take more than one ground? You know, these have been the tradition. Very good judges, Attorney General of India, Chief Justice of India, all came from this High Court. And I seek your kind indulgence to recall today that I am the first Law Minister of Bihar of my High Court, who is today the Law Minister of India. Therefore, there have been great traditions of this court. But ladies and gentlemen, all of you know about this court, the great tradition of judgeship, of a scholarship in law continues unabated. Today I would like to tell you certain facts as to how during these challenging times the judiciary of India functioned. And this commends me to share with you a word of great praise for the present Chief Justice of India. He became the Chief Justice of India and the great pandemic struck. I say in lighter vein, no train, no rail, no plane, no highway movement. But it fell upon all my 3 departments, the communication, the IT, the mobile, internet, to help the country keep on going. And the way the judiciary of India rose to the occasion, I want to give you certain numbers, which is very important for you to know. The total number of cases digitally heard in India this pandemic, and I'm giving you the number of 31st of January 21, very latest. 76.38 lakh cases were heard in the entire country through video conferencing and digitally speaking. The number of High Court is 24.55 lakhs. The District Court is 51.83 lakhs. And the Supreme Court, 52,353. Therefore, if close to 76.38 lakh cases could be heard digitally during these challenging times, it is a matter of some assurance and appreciation. This is Sanjay Karol. Your High Court too fared quite well. Patna High Court heard 6,460 cases, digitally speaking. And district courts of Bihar heard 6,42,514 cases. I can say there is always a scope for improvement. But the most trying, challenging times which the humanity has faced in the last so many centuries, judiciary of India could function is a matter of some assurance. As an IT minister, we have worked very, very significantly with the judiciary to strengthen the digital IT ecosystem of the judiciary. I'm not going to go how many courts have been digitized, but today we have created a national judicial data grid in cooperation with the Supreme Court, where 18.09 crore cases and case status, you can, at a click of a button, know all over the country, and 13.59 crores order and judgments of all the courts of India are available. This is Sanjay Karol in Bihar, 56.18 lakh cases and 8.3 lakhs judgments and orders are available. What I do as the Justice Minister of India to ensure that at least cases more than 10 years old are fast-tracked, both on the civil side and the criminal side, that's a work which all need to do. Another application of technology is the concept of tele-law, which we all initiated in 2017. What is tele-law? We have got nearly 4 lakh kiosks in the country, common service center. You go there, log yourself, and we have a panel of lawyers who will give you pre-litigation advice. A daughter-in-law suffering, or a laborer is not getting his due. I am very assured to tell you that since 2017, 6.35 lakh advices have been given by lawyers who are willing to give their services for a free when an opinion is sought. This includes large number of OBC, large number of SC, STs. And these are matters of great satisfaction for me personally as to how we can use digital technology for access to justice. I would never say the work is complete. There is a lot to be done. 2-3 quick points and then I will conclude. You may have seen, day before yesterday, I launched the National Social Media Guideline. It was long overdue. We are supportive of freedom. We are supportive of criticism. We are supportive of dissent too. But the issue is not of use of social media. The issue is of misuse and abuse of social media. And should the people of India, today nearly 135 crore people of India are using various forms of social media. Therefore, if someone is being abused, someone is being misused, should they have some grievance redressal mechanism or not? That's what we have provided. I will not go into details of that, except to flag a matter of concern as the Law Minister of India. India is a free country. Anyone can speak anything. We can surely criticize the reasoning of the judgment. But I foresee a new disturbing trend which I need to flag today. Of late, some people have an opinion about something. They seek to file PIL, no problem, that's right. But then they start campaigning that we must have a judgment of this type only. And if the judgment is not in accord with what they perceive to be their view, then I see disturbing comments against judges as well on the social media, at times being trolled. This is grossly unfair. The judges of India, Supreme Court or High Court or District Court, must be given complete freedom to decide cases as per the knowledge of law and understanding. If you have any problem, offer your comment, analysis of the reasoning of the judgment, that's your right. But any kind of trolling, any kind of agenda setting, and if that is not in accord with that, then publicly criticizing sitting judges in the most virulent manner is not fair. For a long time, I was thinking to share this concern publicly, but I thought my own Patna High Court would be the best forum to articulate that. But this is not meant only for Bihar. This message is meant for the entire country, I would like to confirm. One last issue I have to flag, two particular. We need to have good intake in the judiciary. And very soon we are in consultation. We are going to establish All India Judicial Service or Indian Judicial Service. We have IAS, we have IPS, we have IFS. Why can't we have a true Indian Judicial Service having the best minds being selected by the Union Public Service Commission under the oversight mechanism of the Supreme Court, direction of the Chief Justice of India? And the idea which we are contemplating is picking a particular number of additional district judges, throwing it for open competition, fresh law graduates, 7-year practice, and also sitting subordinate judiciary. You also sit, write the examination, compete. And the idea is to have a cluster of groupings, Eastern India, Northeastern India, Northern India, Southern India, Western India. And let through that selection, with the biggest stress of scrutiny of merit, best minds become additional district judges, then come to also to the High Court in that very limited quota. The rest will be continued for the subordinate judiciary as the case may be. We also wish to give proper reservation to SC, ST, OBC so that the inclusive character of judiciary may also come about. I am very keenly pushing it, ladies and gentlemen, that we must, and All India Judicial Service is a part of perhaps Article 312 of the Constitution. That's a work in progress. We are in discussion with Honorable Chief Justice. He has been encouraging, but we'll work it together. What is my last submission to make? This is the centenary building of Patna High Court. Indian democracy post-independence is now more than 70 years old. The Constitution came into force in 1950. Freedom, independence of judiciary, the right to franchise of people are now ingrained in the constitutional polity of India. Mani Nitish ji is sitting here, my senior as a student. We were baptized in the JP movement of Bihar, fought against the emergency. Now those days are past. No political party can afford to compromise the basic tenets of the constitutional polity of India, namely freedom, namely democracy, namely independence of judiciary. If that is the real hallowed tradition of India's constitutional polity, it is time to look beyond in the coming 70, 80 years. And this will work only when there is a fine balance of independence of judiciary, separation of power, good governance, and overall commitment to the cause of the people of India. Because I take cue from what the Chief Justice of Patna High Court rightly stated, we all are a stakeholder. And this work as a stakeholder must ensure the pristine glory of judiciary, the shining characteristic of Indian democracy, and the overall quest for good governance must work together to ensure a truly developed India. Thank you. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. At this juncture, we are fortunate to have the presence of Honorable the Chief Minister of Bihar, Shri Nitish Kumar, for today's inaugural ceremony of the centenary building of Patna High Court, of which foundation stone was also laid in his able presence. With this interesting fact, may I have the honor to invite Honorable the Chief Minister of Bihar, Shri Nitish Kumar, to address us all on this pious occasion.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट के माननीय मुख्य न्यायाधीश न्यायमूर्ति श्री एस ए बोबडे जी, इस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित माननीय केंद्रीय मंत्री श्री रविशंकर प्रसाद जी, उच्चतम न्यायालय के माननीय न्यायाधीश न्यायमूर्ति श्री नवीन सिन्हा जी, माननीय न्यायाधीश उच्चतम न्यायालय न्यायमूर्ति श्रीमती इंदिरा बनर्जी जी, उच्चतम न्यायालय के माननीय न्यायाधीश न्यायमूर्ति श्री हेमंत गुप्ता जी, पटना उच्च न्यायालय के माननीय मुख्य न्यायाधीश न्यायमूर्ति श्री संजय करोल जी, पटना उच्च न्यायालय के माननीय न्यायाधीश न्यायमूर्ति श्री शिवाजी पांडे जी, झारखंड हाई कोर्ट के माननीय मुख्य न्यायाधीश जो यही माननीय न्यायाधीश थे पहले, न्यायमूर्ति श्री रवि रंजन जी, इस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित बिहार सरकार के माननीय मंत्री भवन निर्माण विभाग श्री अशोक चौधरी जी, बिहार सरकार के माननीय मंत्री विधि विभाग श्री प्रमोद कुमार जी, पटना हाई कोर्ट के माननीय महाधिवक्ता श्री ललित किशोर जी, बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया के चेयरमैन श्री मनन मिश्रा जी, यहाँ उपस्थित अन्य न्यायिक संगठनों के सभी नेतागण, यहाँ उपस्थित पटना उच्च न्यायालय के सभी माननीय न्यायाधीशगण, उच्चतम न्यायालय के पूर्व माननीय न्यायाधीशगण, पटना उच्च न्यायालय एवं अन्य राज्यों के उच्च न्यायालय के पूर्व माननीय मुख्य न्यायाधीश और इस कार्यक्रम में भाग ले रहे सभी माननीय अधिवक्तागण, विशिष्ट अतिथिगण, प्रिंट एवं इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया के पत्रकार मित्रों, छायाकार बंधुओं, कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित बहनों एवं भाइयों, मैं सबसे पहले माननीय न्यायमूर्ति श्री एस ए बोबडे जी का और अन्य सभी माननीय न्यायाधीशगण का और आप सब लोगों का मैं स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं। आज के इस कार्यक्रम में आप उपस्थित हुए, मुझे तो बहुत खुशी है कि आज पूरे तौर पर जो पटना उच्च न्यायालय के शताब्दी भवन बनाने का निर्णय हुआ और इस कार्यक्रम का शिलान्यास भी 4 फरवरी 2014 को हुआ था। उस दिन बसंत पंचमी का दिन था और जब शिलान्यास का कार्यक्रम हुआ था उसमें भी मुझको आने का मौका मिला था और आज जब ये भवन निर्मित हो गया है, आज उसका उद्घाटन हो गया है, उस अवसर पर भी मुझको शामिल होने का मौका मिला है। मुझे बड़ी खुशी हो रही है। और पहले तो हम लोगों ने जो सोचा था उस समय जो 2014 में हुआ, तो हम लोग तो सोच रहे थे कि 100 साल पूरा होगा 2016 में, तो उस समय ही बन जाएगा, लेकिन कई प्रकार की बातें आती रही। दिन भर अगर काम हो तो फिर जुडिशरी को समस्या थी, तो कई तरह की ऐसी बातें, और हमारे जितने यहाँ के माननीय मुख्य न्यायाधीश, अन्य न्यायाधीशगण सब देखते रहे इन सब चीज़ों को और इसके बारे में बहुत सारी चीज़ों का इसमें सुधार करवाया। और उसके चलते जो भी लगा, हालांकि अगर ये जो कोरोना का दौर नहीं होता पिछले वर्ष, तो ये पिछले ही वर्ष इसका विधिवत उद्घाटन हो गया होता, लेकिन आज ही हुआ है। और अभी तो बताया गया है सब लोगों ने यहाँ के बारे में, और इसको पुराने भवन के अनुरूप बनाया गया है, विस्तारित भवन को भी। और इस काम का, इस परियोजना का पूरी लागत हुई है 203 करोड़ 94 लाख रुपया। और शताब्दी भवन के 2 खंड जिसमें 5 तल हैं, और शताब्दी भवन के दोनों खंड तथा नए पुराने भवन कनेक्टिंग ब्रिज से जुड़े हुए, और आप सब लोगों ने इसके पहले भी बता दिया कि इसमें न्यायालय कक्षों की संख्या 43, माननीय न्यायाधीशों की कक्षों की संख्या 57, उच्च न्यायालय में बैठकों के लिए 6 कमेटी रूम, 90 व्यक्तियों के बैठने के लिए 1 कॉन्फ्रेंस रूम का निर्माण किया गया है। माननीय न्यायाधीशों के लिए 1 लाउंज और पुस्तकालय का भी निर्माण किया गया है। और जो नवनिर्मित शताब्दी भवन है, इसमें 129 गाड़ियों के पार्किंग की भी व्यवस्था की गई। अब जो भवन का शिलान्यास हो रहा था, इसके शताब्दी भवन का, उस समय की उसमें भी बात आई थी कि साहब इसके लिए एडवोकेट एसोसिएशन के लिए और उन लोगों के बैठने के लिए भी जगह होनी चाहिए। तो ये उसी समय बात हो गई थी और इसके बाद राज्य सरकार की तरफ से 17 में ज़मीन भी उपलब्ध करा दिया गया और 10 करोड़ 17 लाख रुपए से एडवोकेट एसोसिएशन भवन की स्वीकृति दी गई थी। और यह भी खुशी की बात है कि उसका भी निर्माण हो गया और उसका भी कार्यारंभ हो गया। जहाँ तक मुझे ध्यान में है, याद है, रविशंकर जी उस कार्यक्रम में भी आए थे। तो ये भी हो गया है। किन्हीं को किसी तरह की कठिनाई न हो, इसके लिए प्रयास किया गया है। और ये तो बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण न्यायालय है, इस उच्च न्यायालय है, इसके बारे में सब लोगों ने अपनी बात रखी, उसको दोहराने की जरूरत नहीं है। लेकिन इनसे कितनी बातों की जानकारी मिल गई। और ये कौन नहीं जानता है, जब देश के पहले राष्ट्रपति, स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के बहुत बड़े नेता डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद जी थे, इसके अलावा सच्चिदानंद सिन्हा साहब थे, इन सब लोगों का इस कोर्ट से मतलब रहा था। और जब बापू आए थे, गांधी जी आए थे, चंपारण सत्याग्रह जो शुरू हुआ था, तो उसी समय इन सब लोगों का रिश्ता उनके साथ हुआ था। और उसके बाद आज़ादी की लड़ाई के साथ जो रिश्ता हुआ, कितना आगे बढ़े। तो यहाँ के बारे में कुछ भी देखने से, पटना हाईकोर्ट के बारे में कितना हम सब लोगों को, जो बिहार के रहने वाले हैं, उनको बहुत भीतर से खुशी होती है और ये गौरवान्वित करता है कि कैसी स्थिति और कितने फैसले होते हैं, कितना सब कुछ देखा जाता है। और पहले तो मात्र 7 थे, अब बढ़ते बढ़ते जजों की संख्या बढ़ती गई। अब तो उसके बाद जितने कोर्ट्स होते हैं और सब तरह के मामलों का निष्पादन किया जाता है, ये अपने आप में बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। और जो काम यहाँ पर हुआ है, एक बात का हम जिक्र जरूर करना चाहेंगे। जब बिहार के लोगों ने हम लोगों को यहाँ पर काम करने का मौका दिया, तो उस समय से ही 2006 में ही पटना हाईकोर्ट की तरफ से भी मीटिंग की गई और किस तरह से अपराध पर नियंत्रण हो और तेजी से ट्रायल हो। और इसके लिए जो सब प्रयास किया गया, और हमारे जो उच्च न्यायालय के माननीय न्यायाधीशगण थे, जिनके जिम्मे जो जिला होता था, वो एक एक जिले पर नजर रखते थे कि तेजी से ट्रायल हो। और उसके चलते हुआ कि अपराध करने वालों को के बारे में कितने निर्णय हुए। और ये तो कोई भी चीज बात सामने आती है, ये देखना तो माननीय न्यायालय का काम है, वो देखेंगे। अगर संतुष्ट है कि ये बात सही है, तो उसके ऊपर तो कितने लोगों को सजा मिली। और उसके चलते जो यहाँ बिहार में एक जो वातावरण था अपराध का, उस पर बहुत हद तक नियंत्रण हुआ। और इसके लिए हम लगातार बोलते रहे, ये सिर्फ सरकार की जिम्मेवारी नहीं है, ये जो न्यायालय ने काम किया, उसके चलते जो लोगों को सजा मिलनी शुरू हुई, तो बिहार में क्राइम की कमी आई। लेकिन फिर भी समाज में तो कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं कि चाहे कुछ भी कर दीजिए, चाहे जितना भी कानून बन जाए, न्यायालय से किसी को कितनी भी सजा हो जाए, सब कुछ हो जाए, लेकिन फिर भी कुछ लोगों की मानसिकता तो गड़बड़ होती है। और यह मनुष्य के स्वभाव में ही होता है। ज्यादातर लोग ठीक स्वभाव के होते हैं, लेकिन कुछ लोग गड़बड़ स्वभाव के होते हैं, तो वो तो कुछ करते ही रहते हैं। इसलिए कानून कब से बना है, सजा कितनों की होती है, तब भी कुछ ना कुछ अपराध होता ही रहता है। लेकिन हम तो यही प्रार्थना करेंगे कि कम से कम ये जो ट्रायल का काम है, वो तेजी से अगर चलता रहेगा, तो हम समझते हैं कि बहुत हद तक अपराध पर वो नियंत्रण लेगा। ये चीज तो हम लोग चाहेंगे। और हम लोगों को तो इतना ही कहेंगे कि साहब, कानून का राज स्थापित करना है, तो ये कोई सरकार की जिम्मेवारी सिर्फ नहीं। सरकार का जो मौलिक काम है वो तो करता ही है, करेगा ही। लेकिन जो सबसे बड़ी बात है कि जब न्याय का प्रश्न है,
तो इसके लिए जो जिम्मेवारी है न्यायपालिका को, तो यहाँ से ही जब कुछ होता है तभी इन सब चीज़ों पर नियंत्रण होता है। तो मेरे हिसाब से जो काम हो रहा है, हमको लग रहा है कि पूरे तौर पर सब कुछ है। और एक बात हम कह देना चाहते हैं, अभी हमारे माननीय मुख्य न्यायाधीश महोदय ने भी कहा, पटना उच्च न्यायालय ने, हम लोगों के पास जो भी प्रस्ताव आता है हम लोग उसको स्वीकार करते हैं और आगे भी आपको वचन देते हैं, जब तक हम हैं, काम करते हैं, हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं, तब तक हम आपको इतना वादा करते हैं कि और भी जहां जो कुछ भी जरूरत है न्यायपालिका के लिए, जिस स्तर पर भी न्यायपालिका के लिए जरूरत है, और जो भी उसके लिए ज्यादा से ज्यादा नियुक्ति का मामला हो या भवनों के निर्माण का मामला हो, जो भी आप लोगों की तरफ से प्रस्ताव होगा, आप लोगों की तरफ से बात आएगी, हम लोग उसको तत्काल स्वीकार करके इस काम को प्राथमिकता देंगे और इस काम को हम लोग करते रहेंगे। क्योंकि न्यायपालिका सबसे जरूरी चीज है, सिर्फ सरकार की बात नहीं है। इसलिए सब लोगों को मिलकर के ये सब चीजों को जो काम करना है, तो आप सब लोगों को मालूम है कि साहब, विधायिका तो कानून बना सकता है, जो कार्यपालिका है यानी सरकार की जो जिम्मेवारी है वो अपना काम करती है, लेकिन जो सबसे बड़ी भूमिका है संविधान के मुताबिक वो न्यायपालिका की भूमिका। किसी गलत आदमी को कोई तंग नहीं कर सकता है और गड़बड़ करने वाला आदमी बच भी नहीं सकता है। इसलिए कोई मामूली चीज थोड़ी है, इससे बड़ा न्याय और क्या हो सकता है, यही तो है। तो इसलिए आज आप सब लोगों के बीच में आने का मौका मिला, मुझे तो बहुत अच्छा लगा। हम आश्वस्त कर देते हैं कि जो भी काम होगा, आपने भी तो बता ही दिया कि जो कुछ भी आप लोगों ने कहा था, 5 सालों में 2035 अधीनस्थ कर्मियों के पद सृजित किए गए हैं और सिविल जज के 1033 पद सृजित किए गए हैं। आप आगे और जो समझिएगा, और बिहार की तो भाई आबादी बहुत है, प्रजनन दर भी बहुत है, तो इसको देखते हुए सीमा तो कभी बढ़ने वाली नहीं है, लेकिन आबादी इतनी ज्यादा है और इधर उधर कुछ भी होता है। आप और जितना चाहेंगे न्यायपालिका के लिए, हम लोग अपनी तरफ से उसके लिए आपका जो भी प्रस्ताव आएगा, मैं दूसरी बार भी कहता हूं, वचन देता हूं कि हम लोग एक एक चीज को स्वीकार करेंगे ताकि लोगों को न्याय मिले। हम यही आपको कह देना चाहते हैं। और सब लोगों को, जो इतने लोग आए हैं, आज जो शताब्दी भवन का उद्घाटन हो रहा है और कितना सुंदर भवन बन गया है, सब आप लोग इसकी प्रशंसा कर रहे हैं। सिर्फ आपको संक्षेप में हम बता देना चाहते हैं कि जब भी काम करने का मौका मिला है, हम लोगों ने हर क्षेत्र में काम किया है, चाहे सड़क का मामला हो, चाहे शिक्षा का मामला हो, स्वास्थ्य का मामला हो, किसी भी चीज में, भवन निर्माण का मामला हो, सब कुछ हो। और माननीय उच्चतम न्यायालय के मुख्य न्यायाधीश महोदय यहाँ पर आए हुए हैं। अगर आपको कभी और समय मिलेगा तो हम तो चाहते हैं यहाँ का कुछ खास चीज आपको हम लोग दिखा देना चाहते हैं कि कभी देख लीजिएगा कि क्या क्या काम यहाँ पर हम लोगों ने करवाया है। और पूरे तौर पर आप समझ लीजिए कि यहाँ पर जो बना है सम्राट अशोक कन्वेंशन केंद्र, अब जो सम्राट अशोक कन्वेंशन केंद्र है उसमें क्या है, पहले ज्ञान भवन बनाया, फिर बापू सभागार बनाया और तीसरे खंड में सभ्यता द्वार। अब उसको देखिए कितना सुंदर है, किस तरह की बिल्डिंग बनी है। और इसमें एफिल टावर में लगे स्टील की मात्रा जितनी उपयोग की गई है वो सबसे ज्यादा है। जो एफिल टावर में जितना लगा है उससे भी ज्यादा यहां पर लगा। तो इस तरह से हम लोगों ने अगर इस ऐसे तरह के कामों की शुरुआत की है तो कभी कुछ ना कुछ इन सब चीजों को देखने का है। बिहार संग्रहालय बना, इस देश का पहला अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर का संग्रहालय हम लोगों ने बनाया है। कभी मौका हो तो एक बार जरूर यहाँ के बिहार संग्रहालय को भी देख लीजिए कि किस तरह का ये बनाया गया है। और बिहार संग्रहालय में बहुत अच्छे ढंग से हर प्रकार से हम लोगों ने किया है काम। तो हर तरह से हम लोग चारों तरफ भी करते हैं। अब पुलिस मुख्यालय जो बना सरदार पटेल भवन, अब वो भी देख लीजिए, रिक्टर स्केल 9 तक भी आएगा, तब भी जाकर के भूकंप आने पर उसका नियंत्रण वहां पर होगा, ताकि अगर बड़े पैमाने पर भी भूकंप आता है तो वहीं से, और आपदा प्रबंधन का भी काम वहां से। तो हमने संक्षेप में इसको विस्तृत बहुत बताने की जरूरत नहीं है। हम सब लोग चाहते हैं कि हमारे माननीय न्यायपूर्ति बोबडे साहब आए हुए हैं, उनकी बात हम लोग सुने, ये खुशी की बात है और हम सब लोगों के लिए ये बहुत ही प्रसन्नता की बात है। और हाईकोर्ट और हाईकोर्ट के दिशा निर्देश में यहाँ के न्यायपालिका और विकसित ढंग से और बेहतर ढंग से काम करती रहेगी। इससे बहुत अच्छा होगा और इससे एक विकास होगा, तेजी से विकास होगा और कई प्रकार के काम होते हैं, उन सब कामों में इसमें सहूलियत होगी। इसलिए न्यायपालिका की सबसे बड़ी भूमिका है। तो आज इस अवसर पर यहाँ आकर के इस कार्यक्रम में शामिल होकर के हम लोगों को बहुत खुशी हो रही है और आप सब लोगों के साथ बैठने में जो मौका मिला है इसके लिए खुशी होती। नहीं तो आपके हाथ में जो अधिकार है, हम लोग तो चाहते हैं वो बिल्कुल पूरे तौर पर इसी तरह से चलता रहे ताकि कोई गड़बड़ करने के बारे में नहीं सोचे और किसी भी सही आदमी को किसी प्रकार से उसके प्रति अन्याय नहीं हो सके। तो यही तो न्यायपालिका और यही तो सबसे बड़ी चीज है, न्याय है। इसलिए आप सब लोगों का मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं राज्य सरकार की तरफ से और आप सब के प्रति मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि आप सब इस कार्यक्रम में शामिल होकर के यहां पर उपस्थित हुए हैं। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ आप सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देते हुए मैं अपनी बात समाप्त करता हूं।
Thank you, sir, for your most kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, today's inaugural ceremony of the centenary building of Patna High Court would not have been completed without the benevolent presence of Honorable the Chief Justice of India, Honorable Mr. Justice Sharad Arvind Bobde. My Lord, the Chief Justice of India, who is also the pater familias of the Indian judicial system, has been magnanimous enough to spare some time out of his lordship's extremely busy schedule to be the chief guest for this historic and momentous occasion of the inauguration of the centenary building of Patna High Court. Without taking much time, may I have the privilege and great honor to humbly invite Honorable the Chief Justice of India to address us on this historic occasion.
When we came here, I thought I'd begin my speech by saying good morning, but I can't now, so good afternoon, all of you. The Honorable Chief Minister, Shri Nitish Kumar, the Honorable Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad, Union Minister of Law and Justice and in IT, my esteemed colleagues, Justice Naveen Sinha, Judge Supreme Court of India, Justice Indira Banerjee, Judge Supreme Court of India, Justice Hemant Gupta, Judge Supreme Court of India, the Honorable Chief Justice of the Patna High Court, Shri Sanjay Karol, Shri Pandey, Judge Patna High Court, Shri Chaudhary and Shri Pramod Kumar, Honorable Ministers in the Bihar government, our esteemed former judges, Justice B.N. Agarwal, my former Chief Justice B.P. Singh, Justice Mukundakam Sharma, Justice Gyan Sudha Mishra, Justice Mukhopadhyay, Justice Shivkirti Singh, the Honorable Chief Justice of the Jharkhand High Court, Justice Ravi Ranjan, former Chief Justices and former judges of the Patna High Court, the Chairman of the Bar Council of India, Shri Manan Mishra, the Advocate General Bihar, the Presidents of the 3 Bar Associations, members of the Bar, members of the print and visual media, ladies and gentlemen. Being here on the occasion of the inauguration of this building is an undiluted pleasure. I do consider myself very fortunate for having been invited to do so. And I must say the thought which is uppermost in my mind, I do not feel like I've come to a new place. Not only because of the hospitality of the Chief Justice of Patna, the warmth in the speeches of the Law Minister, the Chief Minister, but there are very old associations I have had with Bihar, Patna, particularly on the governmental side. I am from Nagpur, and two Nagpurians have been governors Bihar, Bapuji Ane and R.S. Gavai. One of the eminent Chief Justices of the Nagpur High Court was Justice B.P. Sinha. His grandson, Justice B.P. Singh, was my Chief Justice in Bombay. And I have had the pleasure of being on the bench with innumerable judges from Bihar, the last of them who is present here, Justice Navin Sinha. It does not seem to me to be a new place, and I'm happy to be here. With the passage of almost a century for which this High Court had been seated in its majestic building, the need for its extension was felt after considering gradual rise in litigation over the years and also the increase in the strength of judges. The need for an additional building signifies not just that the number of cases being filed in court are increasing, but also that there is a greater consciousness of one's legal rights today. And most important, that courts are being resorted to for settling disputes rather than taking the law into their own hands. I was very pleasantly surprised, and I must acknowledge Shri Nitish Kumar's deep insight into the purpose of law, the purpose of the courts, and the way he stated the principle of the theory of separation of powers without mentioning it. The theory of separation of powers does not imply a hostility between the branches of the government, and it is indeed extremely elevating to hear such wonderful, realistic views which are absolutely in accordance with the Constitution. I thank you, Nitish Kumarji, on behalf of the judiciary for helping understanding the needs of the courts and for giving assistance wherever necessary. And this is something which the Chief Justice told me yesterday, and I was equally happy to hear it yesterday. The other implication of a new building is an increase in legal literacy. That is what we have been striving for. That is what we think is necessary, without, however, intending to encourage litigiousness and cantankerousness. The main building of the Patna High Court is one of the most iconic buildings in India. It is one of the oldest high courts of the world's largest democracy. It has a legacy over a century and has constructively shaped the lives of people. The building is hailed as one of the finest specimens of European architecture and turned 100 years in 2016. As the Chief Justice said, it's a neoclassical style based on a Palladian design. The grand building, formally inaugurated in 1916, the fact which has been said many times earlier today, so I won't repeat it. Also, I would have liked to, but it's not necessary, the words with which the building was inaugurated are words which have come true today. The Patna High Court has earned a name for sound sense and good law. It has had a galaxy of intellectual stalwarts, and its corridors have many memories of great lawyers and judges who have walked through it. If the walls could speak, they'd tell many interesting tales of the great battles that took place in the courtrooms, the great resolutions through judgments. Most significant amongst the great lawyers of this country who brought the greatest glory to it and to our country was the first President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Yesterday at the dinner, my brother Shivkirti Singh was telling us about stories of Justice Rajendra Prasad, and though it might take too long to recount them, it is absolutely fascinating the kind of character and the kind of principles by which Dr. Rajendra Prasad lived his life. The High Court has had the proud distinction of sending many scholarly and distinguished judges to the Supreme Court. Justice Fazal Ali to the present-day judges, one of them on the dais. Two of them went on to adorn the post of the Chief Justice of India, Justice B.P. Sinha and Justice Lalit Mohan Sharma. Many great advocates like P.R. Das, Syed Sultan Ahmad, Mr. Baldev Sahai, Shri B.C. Ghosh, the redoubtable Lal Narayan Sinha, Basudev Prasad, Tarak Nath Jha, and many others have walked the corridors of this court with great distinction. Shri Pranab Mukherjee, in his speech in 2015, narrated a story about an incident that took place between the then governor of Bihar and the then Chief Justice of Patna. He said, the inside story, what we in Hindi call Andar Ki Baat, is that the governor of Bihar, Lieutenant Governor Edward Gate, expressed his desire to remain present at the first session of the court and have some sort of formal inauguration of the first judicial session of the High Court. But Chief Justice Richards firmly told him no. This incident is a testament of the values and integrity this court has maintained since its inception. It also reflects the fundamental feature of the Constitution, the independence of the judiciary. This reminds me of a very interesting incident I heard from Justice Bilal Naski, with whom I was sitting in Bombay. He said that there has always been a fascination in the minds of the executive about the judicial seat. And as an example, he told me when the President of India, Abdul Kalam, visited the Hyderabad High Court, Justice Naski took him around the courtrooms and he asked Mr. Naski in a very mild voice, said, "Do you mind if I go and sit on the judge's chair?" That was all right. That was a curiosity which he wanted to satisfy. After Justice Dasky said, sure, he said, and do you mind addressing me as a lawyer there so that I can hear arguments? This is a kind of interest which the executive has expressed in the judiciary, and it is most welcome. While we regularly outline the support, financial and infrastructural, required from the state to secure the working of the judiciary, we are equally cognizant of the possibility of improvements in our functioning. In line with this sentiment, as was very accurately pointed out by Sri Ravi Shankar Prasad, we have invested heavily recently in the utilization of technology to improve the efficiency of various processes now involved in justice dispensation. There is video conferencing, which we have, and I must make a public mention of the fact that since we have had the good fortune of a minister who is Minister for Law as well as Information and Technology, it was very easy to switch to the video conferencing with complete support from the government side. I have been discussing various improvements in the system. I will only mention a few. One of them is artificial intelligence. And since the Chief Minister has been so forthcoming, I will request the Chief Justice at some point of time to get an additional budget, request for an additional budget from the Chief Minister for artificial intelligence. It is something which is likely to change the face, not of decision making. The decision making will remain with the judges. It is only the speed with which the inputs are obtained that will change. I must say this once again publicly, because a lot of misapprehension has been expressed. The system of artificial intelligence which is about to be introduced is in no way going to take away the discretion of the judges in deciding a case. It is only the ease of access of information which is going to change. There are other things like digitization, e-filing, and many other things which are going to change the way we look at courts, the way we approach courts. And I must confess that at this stage we are not sure about how readily they will be adapted and how adapted to, and how readily will they come into force. On the subject of video conferencing and justice through video conferencing, I must flag something which has engaged our attention in the Supreme Court for a long time. And that is that video conferencing and the appearance of advocates from anywhere in the country, in any court in the country, and including some from abroad in the Supreme Court, has created a problem which we must acknowledge. There is no point in brushing it under the carpet. Video conferencing and the things that are necessary to have successful video conferencing are technology dependent, which means that your access is easy and efficient if you have the technology. You can buy the technology and access the courts. Now, it is a fact that everybody does not have the means to buy the equipment necessary for video conferencing at the end of the litigants, at the end of the bar. And that has created a kind of an inequality, which I mentioned earlier, and that is an inequality we must remove. One of the things we did in Delhi as an experiment, and I believe the experiment was successful, was have, in a sense, public kiosks to which advocates could go and litigants could access the computers installed there, which are relatively free of charge. This will require a heavy investment, I believe, from the Law Ministry and the IT Ministry, but I do hope over a period it will come. We are exploring many other facilities which they are in the formation stage. I will not discuss them, including where in places where you cannot have underground cables, whether the government will loan us their satellites. Apart from this, there is an implication of all this. I don't know if the next building is planned in India. You might not need so much space because the record rooms are going to be completely digitized. You may not need so much infrastructure because digitization does away with that. Someone said, we shape our buildings and thereafter they shape us. This is a good example. But the most significant thing to my mind is that a court building symbolizes the rule of law. What the Chief Minister called Kanun Ka Raj, and not of individuals and not of people, the rule of law. We function in the Supreme Court under the motto Yato Dharmas Tato Jayaha, which also is a statement of the rule of law. A court building houses space where for centuries people have asserted their rights and sought relief against wrongs. It is a space that has symbolized the access to rule of law for generations of people and instilled a sense of security in them. This was something we experienced during the pandemic, where in order to ensure a continued access to justice, the hearings had to be mutated from physical to virtual. As the Chief Justice said, the change of space psychologically affected the minds of litigants and lawyers and judges and created a resistance. At the same time, this change with the introduction of virtual hearings of court cases made access to justice technology dependent. And I must also point out something. The pandemic and the system of virtual hearings somehow created a negative effect on some people's minds. And we saw an unexplained increase in rage, anger, and depression amongst litigants and staff. I don't know what the reason is. But there is an initiative which we took in the Supreme Court, and that has been useful, and I would mention this before the Chief Justice here. We started mental health clinics so that people who are suffering from mental disturbance could go get counsel or get some relief there. It is therefore important, it was important to remove the stigma that is attached with approaching people for mental health. But that is something we had to do in the pandemic. And that is part of what the Chief Justice pointed out. It has changed the minds of people, the pandemic. And it has changed the way we function. Many years ago when I started practice, I was told by a senior at the bar that when you are approaching lunchtime, you make your argument short. And I think I will begin to do that, but not without mentioning some parts of the building which the Patna High Court and the government of Bihar have built. This building we saw today is a spectacular design and is spread over a symmetrical plot with a built-up area of about 32,521 square meters. The 5-floor building is spread over 2 blocks, and the number of chambers and courtrooms of different size is about 50. There are committee rooms and a rich library. The building has been completed after bearing at least the least amount of environmental cost and is equipped with modern facilities. I would like to point out something which the Chief Justice, the environmental friendly Chief Justice has done. That there is a large peepal tree here which was about to be cut down because of the parking lot. I am told that Chief Justice Sanjay Karol has saved the tree by changing the shape of the design. Okay, the Chief Justice of the Patna High Court has done that. It is a sensitivity which should be appreciated. There is one thing, I don't know whether you have applied your mind to it or not, but it is a big problem in the Supreme Court. And that is on a miscellaneous day, it is virtually impossible to navigate the corridors of the Supreme Court. Sri Ravi Shankar Prasad might bear testimony to this fact. We have had a circulation study commissioned by an architecture firm which has told us that you can design buildings in such a way, you can regulate circulations in such a way that the corridors are not crowded. I think before the pandemic completely disappears, we could do that here in the building. This is just a thought. 2 other things I wish to point out before concluding. One is that litigation is fine and making provisions for litigation is fine. But it is time we resort to pre-litigation mediation. It may not be possible for me to explain the advantages of it, but pre-litigation mediation has a way of solving problems, both civil and criminal, which arise from the same dispute. And when that is done, it makes a big difference not only to the feeling among disputants, but also dependency in the courts. I have been discussing this with the Honorable Law Minister about the only thing lacking which must be included in pre-litigation mediation is that the agreement must have a force of law. And that is the essence of pre-litigation mediation. I must, again in the end, congratulate the Chief Justice and the judges of the Patna High Court for this building, but also former judges. In fact, I don't want to embarrass Justice Shivkirti Singh, my former colleague, but he got himself invited to this function by saying that I am so much a part of this building that I would like to be there. This is the kind of enthusiasm which has made this possible. I wish the building, its occupants and inhabitants, the very best in the years to come. We pray that the building continues to produce great judges and great stalwarts and remain and keep up the great traditions of the Patna High Court. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
देखिए, पटना हाईकोर्ट के शताब्दी भवन का उद्घाटन हो गया आज और इसका उद्घाटन सीजेआई शरद अरविंद बोबड़े ने किया। इस दौरान मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार, केंद्रीय कानून मंत्री रविशंकर प्रसाद, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जज न्यायमूर्ति इंदिरा बनर्जी, न्यायमूर्ति नवीन सिन्हा, न्यायमूर्ति हेमंत गुप्ता के अलावा हाईकोर्ट के मुख्य न्यायाधीश संजय करोल भी मौजूद थे। कुछ दूसरी खबरों का रुख करते हैं। एक बड़ी खबर जो इस वक्त मुजफ्फरपुर से आ रही है। शराब कारोबारी से डीलिंग करते एक दारोगा को पकड़ा गया। जी हां, स्प्रिट लेकर जा रहे ट्रक वाले से दारोगा जो है वो डीलिंग कर रहा था। करजा थाने में पोस्टेड है दारोगा बीके यादव। सदर थाना क्षेत्र में ये डीलिंग कर रहा था और सदर थाने से सस्पेंड होने के बाद वो करजा गया था। वसूली के आरोप में पहले ही वो सस्पेंड हो चुका है। तो बड़ी खबर मुजफ्फरपुर से, जहां डीलिंग के दौरान एक दारोगा को पकड़ा गया है। एक ट्रक जो स्प्रिट लेकर जा रहा था उसे रोक कर ये दारोगा जो है उससे डीलिंग कर रहा था शराब कारोबारी से, और दारोगा को गिरफ्तार कर लिया गया। उसका नाम बीके यादव बताया जा रहा है और स्प्रिट लेकर जा रहे ट्रक वाले से वो डीलिंग कर रहा था। करजा थाने में पोस्टेड है दारोगा। क्योंकि शराब कारोबारी से डीलिंग करते एक दारोगा को पकड़ा गया। मुजफ्फरपुर से बड़ी खबर हम आपको बता रहे हैं। स्प्रिट लेकर शराब कारोबारी जो है एक ट्रक से जा रहा था। सुधीर हमारे सहयोगी हमारे साथ फोन लाइन पे जुड़े हुए हैं। सुधीर, क्या कुछ अपडेट है? दारोगा को गिरफ्तार कर लिया गया है, पूछताछ की जा रही है क्या?
हाँ जी बिल्कुल, अभी दारोगा को हिरासत में रखा गया है और उसके साथ एक चौकीदार का बेटा भी पकड़ा गया है जो उस कांड में लिप्त था, और अभी उससे पूछताछ की जा रही है कि इसके फॉरवर्ड लिंक क्या हो सकते हैं। और यह एक बड़ी कार्रवाई एंटी लेकर स्क्वाड के द्वारा की गई है मुजफ्फरपुर में, जबकि शराब के कारोबार में लिप्त दारोगा बीके यादव को गिरफ्तार किया गया है। बीके यादव का पहले का भी रिकॉर्ड काफी नोटोरियस है। इससे पहले सदर थाने में रहते हुए वसूली का एक वीडियो वायरल हुआ था, जिसके बाद इसे सस्पेंड किया गया था और वहीं से इसे करजा थाने में भेजा गया था। सबसे आम बात यह है कि कार्रवाई के बाद बीके यादव करजा थाने के प्रभार में था और अपने थाना क्षेत्र से बाहर सदर थाना में जाकर वह शराब माफिया के साथ गाड़ी में बैठा था। यह गिरफ्तारी एक सामान्य गिरफ्तारी हुई थी शराब माफिया के खिलाफ, जिसमें बीके यादव बाद में उसकी पहचान हुई कि यह आज की तारीख में करजा थाने का प्रभारी थानेदार है और बीके यादव दारोगा है। फिलहाल जो ये खबर सामने आई है तो पुलिस महाकुंभ में काफी सनसनी मची हुई है। एसएसपी और सिटी एसपी स्वयं इस मामले की मॉनिटरिंग कर रहे हैं। एसएसपी ने इस बात की पुष्टि भी की है कि वह लिप्त था और उस पर कार्रवाई भी होगी। तो आगे अब क्या कुछ होता है पूछताछ के बाद सामने आएगा, लेकिन फिलहाल मामला बहुत गंभीर है।
देखिए, मुजफ्फरपुर से खबर आई, बड़ी खबर, जहां शराब कारोबारी से डीलिंग करते दारोगा को पकड़ा गया है। स्प्रिट लेकर जा रहे एक दारोगा